Oof, this is going to be interesting. Okay, all right. Let me see how I get on with shuffling. This is going to be somewhat of an experiment. Okay, it's not too bad, but I'm just going to have to take it easy. I'll explain why in just a second. But yes, for those who are going to be watching after the fact, appreciate you checking out this message. It's definitely going to be beneficial for those who feel like they're in this sort of liminal space. So yeah, definitely want to watch. And where it applies, I will add timestamps accordingly, okay? So you can just jump right in. Hey guys, welcome in. Yes, excuse me for looking like roadkill today. Yeah, not too bad. So I got a call from the hospital this morning, and turns out I have a fracture after all. It's a hairline fracture, but yeah, it's kind of in my wrist near my thumb. So I've just come back from the hospital after getting that cast put on. It's one that I can actually take off, but I'm not allowed to take it off for 4 weeks. So yeah. So I'm not allowed to take it off. But that's okay. But yeah, so I've just come back from there. I'll be honest, I feel rough. But I can do this message, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's why I do look particularly particularly ropey today. So yeah. But other than that, I'm doing okay. I am going to probably get an appointment with my GP because I'm still getting like these headaches that come and go. And I just feel a little bit under the weather. So yeah, just double check everything's okay with my noggin, seeing as that's where I landed on first. But no, I'm okay, guys. I appreciate the concern and the well wishes. But how are you guys? How are you guys doing? Yeah, I've been taking supplements. It's got one of them's got vitamin D and vitamin C in it. The other one's like more so B vitamins. But yeah. No, I'm not in too much pain at the moment. Yeah, I've taken some painkillers just now anyway. So yeah, I'm not in too much pain with it. Especially now that it's supported, you know, it's actually okay. Like it feels a lot better now I've got proper support rather than just the brace that I had. Especially excuse me. Especially because with the swelling going down, it wasn't really as supported as it was. So I was really glad that they called actually and was like, yeah, we're going to put you in a cast. I'm like, excellent. You know? So it does feel a lot more supported now. But yeah, it's just funny because I knew something was off. And obviously there's a lot of bruising now. Like all down here is just an awful color at the moment. But yeah, just the where you know where the actual fracture is, it just hasn't felt right, you know. So it didn't surprise me. But luckily, it's one that's pretty common and easy to heal. So fingers crossed, within a few weeks, I should be all good. So, but it's lovely to see you guys. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you've been having a good start to your summer, a good July. Mine's been eventful, to say the least. But you know what? Despite the fact that I'm a bit banged up, I am in good spirits, you know, and that's it. Mindset is really, really key, you know. It's not just about what you experience, but the mentality you have, right? I am very much a big advocate of that. So even whilst I've been going through it, I've been still cracking jokes and keeping the vibe light where possible, you know. So yeah. But other than that, all is well. Yeah, so that's it, you know. I am healing. The swelling is definitely going down. It's a lot less than it was, so we're going in the right direction. But yes, guys, it's good to see you in the chat. I am going to get into your message. Obviously, shuffling is a little bit more awkward, so it might take me a little bit longer. But other than that, I'm good to go. Okay. So you may have noticed with the title and the thumbnail that this energy is something that has been I wouldn't say affecting, but it's been the case for a lot of people, right, in the collective. I mean, we are, as a collective, in a transitionary period, right? And then as an individual, we've been going through our own shifts, right? Our own personal circumstances are shifting around us. We ourselves have been experiencing internal shifts, right? I do feel like there is a large portion of the collective right now that feels as though they are kind of caught between paradigms, right? So it's not just about jumping timelines. It's literally like being caught between two worlds right now, you know, the world that you formerly knew and that which is yet to really come into fruition yet, you know. And if you look at what's happening astrologically, it makes perfect sense, right? We have some major shifts that are happening this week alone. So if you do feel like you're in sort of a limbo state between, you know, what they would say is like the 3D earth and the 5D earth, then I feel like you are someone who's not only particularly sensitive to you know, the shifts that happen on a larger scale, but you're also someone who's probably going to experience some very significant changes in your life coming up, right? Especially in the next year to 2 years. For some of you, you won't even recognize where you're at currently. That's how significant these changes are that are about to take shape in your life. Like to the point where you could literally be right now in the process of saying goodbye to life as you once knew it. So you will be in a completely different environment, having completely different experiences around completely different people, right? So obviously it's going to be varying degrees for everybody. It's not going to be the same for everyone, but for some it is going to be that big, right? So especially, like I say, if you feel like right now you're kind of feeling like you're kind of between a rock and a hard place because you're like, okay, I can sense that there are big changes afoot. I already know that I have a big vision for myself, or I see significant radical changes that I want to implement in my life. But I feel like I'm not quite at that point where I'm seeing the ball turn, right? Like the ball rolling in that way. This is why, okay? Because essentially you are navigating out of this old paradigm. And best believe, even whilst you've been going through this process and purging and releasing and healing and transmuting and transforming, you've been literally jumping timelines, right? So it's not that your new beginning isn't here. It very much is, right? But what I'm talking about is on a global scale, right? And that's the thing. So you've been timeline jumping all this time, right? And like I say, making these changes and shifting and becoming this new expression of self. But as we know, reality itself, the physical, the tangible, takes time to catch up. But because so many people are shifting, changing, expanding in that way, it's like the earth is now responding to that, right? So that shift in the collective consciousness. And the earth itself is going through its own shift, and it has been for some time. So there's kind of like a little bit of overlap there, but there is like a whole nother, like, how do I explain it? Almost like a quantum jolt that's about to happen, right? And I honestly feel like that jolt will be like the signifier or like the signal that the old paradigm is done, is completely gone, and the new is now starting to take shape, right? So that's kind of where we find ourselves right now as a, you know, as a collective on that precipice. So I know it's not going to make a lot of sense to some, okay, but for others of you, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, okay, because again, you're very much in that space and you feel it, you can sense it on a very subtle and subliminal level, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, so we're going to get into this in more detail, but this is definitely going to be for those who feel like they're kind of in that space. And it may feel awkward, it may feel strange, it could be very confusing, right? You may feel lost within that space, but this is why I wanted to do this reading, okay, to bring you some reassurance that no, you're not lost, you're not stuck, you're not on the wrong trajectory or anything like that. It's just a case of, you know, there are big changes afoot, right? You've been doing things to change things within your own life, right? You yourself have gone through some significant transformations, but now we're seeing the bigger picture come into play, right? So, it's just about allowing it and just seeing it for what it is. Oh, thank you, Defina. I appreciate that. So yeah, don't mind my cast here. All right, so. But yeah, so let's get into it. So what does the collective need to know when it comes to this monumentous paradigm shift, okay? This old way of experiencing life as we know it and this new that's emerging. Tell me more about this. Oh, we got this before. Look at this. Anunnaki light codes, energetic shift, new information, end of a cycle. Okay, and you see, it's because we are ready as a collective. Like I say, right? So many of us have been diligently doing the inner work, right? Have been addressing our own patterns, our own cycles, right? Clearing, cleansing, transmuting, shifting, right? Releasing, embracing, coming back to self, right? And really harmonizing with what we feel is truly valuable and important at this time, right? So there's been a massive clearing process and decluttering that's taken place. And once you do that, once you create the necessary space, you'll be surprised what can actually come through, what can come online, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting here with these light codes. It's like, basically, because we are resonant with the energy signature of these codes, we are now tapping into it. We're now having these codes activated even within our own DNA. So this has been coming up a lot. We know we've been getting a lot around light codes and activations, right? On a cellular level, that which is affecting our light body as well, the plasma field around us. So that is a catalyst in itself, right? Because like I say, a lot of what we see externally is reflecting what's happening internally. And like I say, a lot of people in the collective are experiencing this, okay? Especially those who have been doing their due diligence, right? So that was enough. That was catalyst enough. As I've mentioned in previous collective readings, ultimately we were faced with a choice. We made that choice. And we took actions that were synonymous with that choice. So that's why this is happening in this way. And again, with this, it is giving me that Age of Aquarius energy. You know how I've been saying, guys, I'm still seeing it. A lot of people are saying, oh, we're entering the matriarchal age, right? Like we're returning to a matriarch society or civilization or way of functioning. But that's not the case. I've got to be honest with you. That's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is a completely different system, right? It will incorporate that, okay? It does require for the masculine and feminine attributes, archetypes to be balanced, right? But it is a completely different mode of function, right? It's a completely different way, different approach to life, okay? Different systems that are going to be implemented. And technology is going to play a role in that, but it's about how we utilize that, right? And that's what I'm getting with these Anunnaki light codes. Like we've been looking at things from a very dualistic, polarizing view, right? Very binary in that way. There's only this way or that way. There's only two pathways, two approaches, and that's it, okay? But I don't see that at all. With the Age of Aquarius, I see that there is, again, what I always talk about, that central column. You think about the Sephiroth, right? The tree of life. Everyone talks about the right-hand path, the left-hand path. What about the central column, okay? No one ever talks about that. That's the path we're taking with the Age of Aquarius, which is the most intuitive, direct, intelligent, balanced, right? Like you say, balanced, right? And most effective way to navigate life. And it's very much in sync with source as well. It is literally like operating, so we are direct channels. So that line of communication between ourselves and source is so strong and so solid. It's very, very direct, right? And so that's what I mean. Like there is a completely new path that is yet to be explored that is going to present itself in this age, right? And that's why already the light codes, the light technology that's associated with that is already presenting itself. It's already being activated, right, in preparation for that. But again, it was never about whether or not this was available to us. It was about, were we ready to receive it? Because this was always present. This was always available. This was always present in the cosmos, but this was always present within us as well on a DNA level. You know how they always talk about junk DNA? There's no such thing as junk DNA. There is that which is dormant and that which is active, right? But there are activations that are occurring on a significant level, right? Multiple activations that have been taking place. And you see all this gold energy, right? And this white light and some of the rainbow here. Very, very high vibrational, high frequency, right? You have to be able to be a container for such frequencies. Otherwise, you are going to get overwhelmed, right? We are electrical beings. So you imagine if you try to put too much voltage in a piece of equipment that can't handle it, what's going to happen? It's going to blow, right? Similar kind of thing here, right? We had to basically go through certain processes where we would actually be a conduit for these frequencies, where we could be a match for it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to be a container for it. It would overwhelm the system. It would be like short-circuiting us, right? So that's why these rites of passage, dark nights of the soul, these transformations, these epiphanies, awakenings, right? They had to happen in the way that they happened, in the order that they happened. Otherwise, you know, if you try to skip any of these processes, it would have been disastrous, right? So it had to happen the way it happened at the time it happened, right? But now you're ready to receive this, okay? You are ready for these Anunnaki light code activations, okay? So, and it was always within us. That's the wild thing. That's what people haven't realized. This is what people didn't know, that we were encoded with these light codes from the beginning, right? But we had to be ready. So it's not that higher intelligences were always working against us, right? Like I said, I'm not going to get too deep into it in this reading. There are different factions, okay, with different agendas, should we say, right? But there are those who've been trying to support us, right? And help us to see where we're going wrong, right? And what we need to do to actually carve out a better way of life, you know? But ultimately, we have been our own thorn in our own sides. We are the ones that have been standing in our own way, okay? So it was important for us to see all the ways in which we have been self-sabotaging as a species, so we can course correct, so we can do something about it, okay? And that's what this paradigm shift is giving us the option and the potential for, right? To carve out a better way, a different way. And there's enough people that feel strongly enough about it for this energy to come online now, right? Because at the end of the day, like it says, energetic shift, at the end of a cycle, new information coming in, new intelligences coming online as well, right? New technologies. But these technologies are not the type that we are used to discussing, right? This is light technologies. It's completely different. So, yeah, definitely it's time to start thinking outside of the box, okay? And not in a dualistic fashion. Yeah, look at this. Crown chakra upgrade, divine connection, holy experiences, miraculous energy. Light intelligences, light technologies, right? Light communication. Yeah. So don't be surprised if your crown chakra does go through a major clearing and activation at this time, okay? Big shift happening on that level. You may actually start to perceive things that operate on a higher bandwidth of reality in a more direct way, okay? So say, for example, if you felt angelic presence, but you've never actually witnessed angels or anything like that, you may start to see them. or if you felt like like nature spirits or something like that, you may start to see them, right? I just feel like when it comes to your psychic perception, that is going to increase massively. Okay, so just to give you a heads up, if you do start perceiving things on that level, don't immediately assume that something is wrong. Okay, remember what we're discussing. You've been going through a significant process, right? It's not just about awakening, but it's about the removal of those limitations that your mind created around itself, right? So as those blockages are removed, right, as the veil is lifted, then of course, you're going to start accessing information that you weren't able to in the past, right? So you can start perceiving things to an extent on a level that you weren't able to in the past, right? Because those limitations, boundaries, blockages are no longer there, right? So interesting. But yeah, you may have some very sort of unexplained experiences, right? But this is like really, really positive though, really positive experiences where it's like, you feel like you felt the hand of the divine on your shoulder, right? Or you felt like you saw, like I say, an actual angel, something like that, right? Something that you wouldn't ordinarily see every day, and it's going to feel miraculous. It's going to feel like one of those rare experiences, that will never leave you, because it will be very vivid as well. That's the thing. It's not something fleeting that you just catch in the corner of your eye. It'll be something very, very vivid. So you're not going to forget it anytime soon. But that's the thing, I do feel like these sort of instances will become more common, right? Not less. Holy Grail, look at that. Inner discovery, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. This is what I'm saying. This is why. What do I always say to you guys? You are the Holy Grail. You are the holy vessel, right? And it's like the more you recognize your own divinity, the more you're able to connect with that which is external to yourself as well, because there's no real separation between you and the divine, right? So the more you recognize the divinity within yourself, the sacredness in your own being, the more you're going to be able to connect with those frequencies, with those presences, with those beings, right? With that stream of consciousness, right? And the divine love that is always being outpoured, that's always being given freely, And that's why you may encounter figures, messengers, right? Symbols that represent those energies, that represent those frequencies, right? And the ways in which the divine are trying to pour into you. So this transition, like I say, as much as it's creating an environment and the opportunities to create a way of life that's more reflective of our divine nature, it's also creating opportunities for you to really lean into your own divinity, right? And embody that, not just witness it or be aware of it, but actually embody that as well. Wow. It's almost giving me that sort of ever unfolding rose, the cracking open, right? It's that realization that the sacredness of life, or anything of the spiritual sort that you've been trying to seek outside of yourself, that you're trying to connect with, the key was connecting with that part of your essence within you that was there the whole time. And that's how it will happen, right? That's literally what opens the door. So that's why, again, there's a reason why I bang on about self-love so much. That's why I wanted to do those self-care lives so much, because that is the key. That is the gateway. Because when you have love of self and you start to recognize your true self, you'll see your inner sacredness. You'll see your own divinity. You'll see what you're really made of, right? You'll see your true essence, which is out on a core level, is this, right? Strip everything away. What is at a core? What is at your core is this. So this is what I mean. And that is the key to everything. Yes, I definitely feel ready now. I see and feel things more clear, and totally agree with you. Can this be lost pets as well as angels? On all levels, not just angels. I just use that as an example, right? Because of the wings, but all sorts. It can be lost pets. It can be anything, right? But you're just going to be more perceptive to those things. That's all, right? You'll be able to perceive them more. So you have Chamber of the Violet Flame, karmic release, radical transformation. This is what I mean, right? The purging, the transmutation of energies that no longer serve, right? The experiences, the memories, the energy signatures, the emotions. So this is about the clearing of that, the purging of that, transmuting that, and releasing those karmic patterns like we discussed, right? Yeah, you can go. All right. Yeah. And that's it. Not everyone is willing to enter the violet flame, right? Not everyone is willing to do the necessary work. But that's okay. People are where they're at, and that's all there is to it. But what matters is what you do. Because like I say, there is a big portion of the collective that has gone inward, right? That has looked at their shadow, looked at their wounds, their pain, their trauma. See where perhaps, you know, there is imbalance between their masculine and feminine attributes. But it's one thing to know that and to understand it, but it's another thing to know what to do in order to, again, transmute those experiences, right? So it no longer becomes a reoccurring theme or pattern of behavior or circumstances, a way of life that you just find yourself constantly wrapped up in, right? And just like we're seeing in some of these comments, right? People's projections, people that feel stuck, right? That don't know how to transcend what they know, what has been familiar, right? They don't know any other way. To them, they can't even conceive of another possibility. But that's not your problem. You cannot control where other people are at. And their limitations, especially in thought, in consciousness, doesn't define you. All you can do is leave them where they're at, right? And focus on what you're doing, how you're making a difference, how you're doing things differently, expanding your consciousness, your thought process, okay? Be willing to see outside of the box, right? And of course, there's always going to be some resistance, especially those who do feel like you are leaving them behind, right? That no, they're not necessarily going to be part of this new experience, right? But those who I feel like are really embracing it for what it is, they're okay with that, okay? I honestly don't feel like the resistance will come from people who are leaning into this shift, right? It's more so people that feel stuck in that old paradigm or maybe confused as to what's taking shape currently, right? But at the end of the day, you know, everyone has a choice. You can hold on to a dying world, a crumbling paradigm, or you can expand your awareness and be open to new possibilities. But ultimately, that's the two choices that you have, right? But how you approach that, that's entirely up to you. All right, let's continue. Orion activation. Supernova, recreation, renewal, rebirthed by light. This is what I mean. There's so much light energy here. It's insane. So, like I say, the portal, the doorway, right? This week is significant when it comes to that. It's creating a very specific gateway for people to lean into this change, right? And again, you've been waiting for this because a lot of you have been in this liminal space, right? Between seeing this old world crumble and sensing, feeling the new that is about to be ushered in, right? But I feel like more so than anything, rather than worrying about what's happening externally, it's about being aware of the signs and the subtle sort of cues you're getting internally, okay? And just working with that. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to how things are shifting externally, there are multiple things that you can't necessarily control. But what you can control is how you regulate yourself through this experience, right? As you navigate out of this old way of life and into the new, right? Because it's like the tower. You can't necessarily stop how the tower is going to fall, right? But you can choose to focus on how you're going to navigate out of the tower situation. You know what I mean? That's kind of the energy here. But it's always happening in tandem. It's not like, oh, you know, the old world is gone and now this new world is here. It's like the old world, the old way of things, the old paradigm as we know it is falling apart rapidly. And these new energies are already starting to come through. The new expression of what we are creating and stepping into is already presenting itself. It's just there's nothing, excuse me, there's nothing solid about it. There's nothing solid about it at all right now, okay? It is a very malleable space to be in, a very malleable energy, right? So that's why, again, it's really key, right, to focus on how you want to work with it, what energy you're stepping in with, right? How you're choosing to show up in the world, right? Because that's the one thing you absolutely can control, right? Is how you present yourself, how you work with the energies, right? How you're going to best utilize it. Look at that, see? Halls of Mementi, secrets revealed, treasures uncovered, initiations. Major, by the way, initiation. This is the old board game, right? This is the old playing field that was always spoon-fed to us, right? What I say, the two pillars, right? At this point, a portion of the collective have mastered this game, right? The chessboard. Think about how this applies, right? When you think about everything that's been going on in the world and who's really behind it, right? The negative influences and the games that they've been playing with humanity as a whole, right? And moving us all like pawns. Yeah. This game is over, okay? And that's why so much has been exposed and even more will be exposed, okay? Because this long game that they've been playing is over, okay? And again, a new paradigm is here. The portal is there. You see it? So you have mastered this game. You've transcended this, okay? You're not even playing to their rules at this point, okay? Because you see it for what it is. You see it for it being an illusion. The whole thing is rigged from top to bottom, right? And this is the point. This is why I say it's not even about what higher intelligences are doing or have done, right? It's about us as a species. We don't have to keep playing this game anymore. We can set a new precedent. We can create a new playing field. We can create a whole new experience, right? And that's what we're doing. And that's the secret. That's the treasure that you're uncovered, right? You've uncovered is that you're realizing the whole thing is not what it seems. Reality as we know it is not what it's been portrayed to be. You've been spoon-fed narratives, beliefs, right? Programming. You have been led to believe that it can only be one way or another. It's better to hand your sovereignty over to the system, right? And let us make the hard decisions for you, right? Like you're incapable of conducting yourself in a way that feels free but balanced, right? Like you're not able to take ownership over your own life. Like you're incapable of making significant decisions for yourself. You have to outsource your sense of self-governance to another. When that's not the case, right? And so you are entering, again, that liminal space. But this is a very sacred space with Halls of Mementi, right? Like this is higher learning on a spiritual level, right? So this would be like going in to do your master's or PhD in the school of life, right? From a spiritual standpoint. So you've definitely transcended the paradigm, and that's why you're ready. You already know this. It's like, I don't even care to engage on that level. I don't care to be part of it. I don't care to fall in line, right? It's like even your spirit is at odds with that. You just can't even envision going about life in the same way that you once had. So that's how you truly know you're ready. That's why some people, when they hear this, they're not going to understand, or they're going to be quick to reject it, right? Because they're not at that point. That's the honest truth. Not everyone has crossed this threshold, right? This is the portal right here, okay? But you guys are crossing that threshold, and others will too, right? But not everyone is ready to do that. Especially those who have been spiritually bypassing or avoiding doing the shadow work, right? And holding themselves accountable. Not everyone's doing that, okay? But luckily, there is a big enough portion of the collective that have been doing that. And so it is creating shifts on a global level, not just on an internal individual level, right? But this is where you're going to find yourself very, very soon, okay? Very, very soon, right? And this can show up in many, many different ways. But it's almost like you're going to feel as though you are uncovering secrets to the universe. You're going to literally feel like you're understanding the very fabric of the universe, or how things truly operate, right? How they really function. You're going to really understand things on a quantum level to an extent that you haven't before. Like I say, it's almost like with this understanding, this knowledge that you're getting, it's going to help you transcend what we thought we knew, right? And how life is meant to be played, how life is meant to be interacted with, the ways in which we can establish life here on Earth, right? Establish ourselves. How civilization has to function. It will transcend all of that, right? Look at this. Hathor light codes, light immersion, full system upgrade, power recall. What did I say? This process in itself is literally handing you the keys to your freedom. You chose your sovereignty. You chose self-governance, right? You chose the path of being and showing up as a sovereign being, as a divine being, right? And not reducing yourself to something that you're not. So you are going to get the keys to your freedom. You are going to have the capacity and the ability to forge a life that people don't even think is possible at this current time. And like I say, the paradigm shift that's happening is not only bringing in new information, new insights, new perspectives, new ways of thinking, okay, alternative routes, alternative paths, other than those that have been spoon-fed to everybody, but it's literally going to shift the way you even think, the way you conceive of these things, right? Like, it's major. And again, like I said, there's so much light here, light information, light codes, light technologies, right? That which we've not even witnessed before, right? But that's what's coming through here. So this is what I mean about this age of Aquarius, that it's bringing through human evolution, technological advancement, okay, but in a way that can be utilized that is highly beneficial as opposed to ultimately destructive. That's the difference, okay? Because these are energetic technologies, right? They're not the same that is currently being implemented by humanity. So that's the thing, you know, and even just saying that, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? That don't make sense. It will become apparent, okay, if you're even open to it. People think that the be-all, the end-all is AI and the like. That is a lesser technology compared to what we're discussing here. And believe me, it'll become apparent. And like I always say, right, when you're coming through early with a message, it sounds nuts to a lot of people. Okay, give it time and you'll come to understand what I mean. Because trying to explain this type of technology is not easy, given the vernacular that's available to us at the moment, right? Because this is not something we have interacted with, at least not in this lifetime. Maybe maybe in a past life, right? Like, because there were advanced civilizations, obviously, that discuss things that are completely out of left field to us in current day, right? In modern times. But at least, as far as we know, right, given modern times, these are not technologies, these are not ways of operating, modalities, systems, tools, approaches that we've encountered before, right? But that is what's going to be afforded to us as we step into this new age, right? But again, it's up to people to be willing to align with that possibility, you know? And if you're resistant, if you're still in these karmic loops and you're still projecting left, right, and center and you're operating from fear, then you're not going to have access. It's that simple. It's not about gatekeeping for gatekeeping's sake. It's just that you're not a viable match for it. It's that simple, you know? Like I use the analogy of like, you know, you're not going to expect, you know, a low voltage device to be able to handle high volts. You just can't, right? It would just blow up. It's the same thing. So that's what I'm seeing here, okay? So believe me, if you know you've been going through back-to-back like activations, awakenings, dark night of the soul, rites of passage, initiations, okay? It's for a reason. It's preparation for this. Because you're going to be one of the first waves that get to directly connect on that level and encounter these tools, these systems, these lines of communication, right? Look at this. Emerald tablet activation, cosmic ordering, divine alchemy, conscious manifesting. This is what I mean, right? This is technology on a whole nother level, a whole nother spectrum. But you're going to be able to utilize it, right? This is amazing. And like I said, cosmic ordering, there's a reason things happened in the way they did, in the timing that they did. And it's going to make so much sense, guys. It may not right now, but it will. It really will, okay? And we talked about the alchemical process, divine alchemy, right? Everything's aligning perfectly for this to take shape, you know? And with that conscious manifesting as well, yeah. Like I said, what you think you've been able to tap into, perceive, experience, do up until this point, barely scratch the surface. You'll be shocked, okay? Yeah, who's the Mementi? And soul star activation, fulfilling soul contracts, remembering who you are. That is the key. What did I say? Remembering who you are on a core soul level, okay? Think about it. It was like over a year ago now that we got this line of collective messaging, channeled messages around soul remembrance, right? This has been an ongoing unfolding, right? A process of you coming back to self and remembering yourself as a whole sovereign divine being, right? Not as a fragmented, 3D version of yourself. No. And this is the point. As you continue to remember and connect with these different facets of yourself, right? You are fulfilling the very contract that you came here to fulfill. Everything else is, I feel like, is additional and beneficial, obviously, but it is additional. But this is at the core of everyone's mission statement, right? Yes, people have other mission statements, other callings, other things they feel like they need to do, they're compelled to do, they're called to do. That's fine, right? But on a core level, this is why we're here, right? Everybody is to remember self, right? Know thyself, right? That's the very first thing, and that is the key. Once you know yourself, you come to understand yourself, you have love of self, it's easier to connect with the divine, right? Because you see your own divinity within and you realize, oh, there is no separation between us. Bam. The line of communication is there, right? And you can strengthen it. But I'm telling you, this is the catalyst. This is the key. And with the soul star energy as well, the soul star chakra, that is your direct link, right? Between the physical and to the highest planes, right? To source themselves, right? So amazing. I love this. Okay, so that's what it is. This whole process is making you the best possible conduit, right, for channeling source's frequency. So, and it's not to say again that you are a lesser version or anything like that. It's just literally like fine tuning your auric field, your sort of cellular makeup, so you're able to channel to that extent, right? And you're able to again bring down these like otherworldly cosmic ideas and possibilities, right? Because you got to remember, like, we are walking around with so much limitation over our heads, but once all of that is stripped away, and you're literally funneling this information, this insight, this wisdom, and this awareness from source, I mean, it's going to change things for sure. It really is. Okay. So, yeah. New ideas, new possibilities, new experiences, new ways of showing up in the world, new ways of interacting, new solutions to age-old problems, like, it's revolutionary. But again, of course, there's always that resistance, there's always that resistance. But these kinds of messages, anyway, to be honest with you, like, honestly, the people who are on that wave, they will understand it. I don't do these kinds of messages for absolutely everybody, because not everybody is going to be able to receive it, right? But trust me, there is a good chunk of the collective that are ready. So amazing. All right, so I'm going to be using my new deck now to get some messages. It's some really cute poems with it, so I will share that with you as well. Let's see. What else does the collective need to know when it comes to... And I think using the Trust Oracle is perfect for this reading, okay? Because there is a lot of trust. You are literally walking into the unknown, right? You're stepping into the void, uncharted territory. So a lot of trust is required, right, to be in this liminal space. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. It's not obvious. It's not clear. So, of course, it's important that you have cultivated that trust in self. And again, that's why not everyone else is there. Not everyone is there. Okay. All right. So what else does the collective need to know? B. What? Look at that. Look at that, B. Let me read you the poem. That is, what was I saying? Okay. About being sovereign, whole, complete in yourself, seeing yourself clearly, right? Yeah. Let me see if I can find the poem. Look at this. There is nothing to solve, to fix, to do. Simply and silently sit with presence. Feel the ripples of the waves as the world moves around you. Feel the wind comb through the leaves as the sky breathes above you. We feel when we remember to listen, when we remember to just be. This moment is witnessing, right? The stillness, yeah? Like I've been going on about for ages. The stillness that's required. Yeah. And then again, it's not always comfortable to sit in this position, especially while you are traversing the unknown. But that's where being present, being still, and just allowing it to happen, to unfold, is really key. Yeah, amazing. What else? I know, gorgeous, right? I was so excited to be using this deck. Intuition. Gorgeous. Let me get that for you. And I'll get one more after this before I go into the tarot. All right, intuition. Let me find it. Where is it? Yeah. All right. It feels a bit like a voice, but it's not. Perhaps more like a thought, but it's not. Or potentially a little like an emotion or a feeling, but it's not that either. Maybe more like a soft whisper that brushes past your ear, the kind that tickles just a little, enough to really notice it, but it still feels nice. it's kind of hard to miss it. And the more you resist it, the louder it gets. See if you can be with it, as if it were a playful dance, a soft unfolding to understand the guidance that is orchestrated from your soul's knowing. Beautiful. So, your intuition absolutely is your compass right now. Okay? That is the thing that's going to help you navigate this passage, okay, between the old and the new. But being present in all of it, right? And just observing it as well, right? Observing what comes up, how you feel, what you think, what the sensation is like, what the experience is like, because it's a rare one, right? This is not something that you're likely to experience again in the same way. So it's an opportunity to just take note, right? But from a place of curiosity, right? As if you were a scientist looking at something that you're testing, right? You're doing an experiment and you're just looking at the results with curiosity, like, interesting that that's come up, you know? Kind of that approach. Because again, this is so temporary. But again, it may be something that you'll always remember, right? What did I say about feeling lost? Yeah? Lost. There is a constant search for answers that feel like they don't exist. More questions appear while answers simultaneously dissipate. How is it possible to ask so many questions, to wonder and not awaken to anything? At least that's what it feels like. But you are awakening, you are discovering, you are getting answers. And they're becoming clearer with every question you ask. Just keep walking. Just keep moving, and soon you will find the answers are already there, intuitively and innately. Intuitively and innately. Okay? Perfect, right? This is what I mean. The answers are already there. What you're seeking is seeking you because it is you. There is no separation. That's why this is unfolding in this way. This is why you're experiencing these things. This is why all you have to do is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and know that you'll arrive accordingly, safely, on time, okay? And that you're exactly where you need to be right now. So again, the best thing you can do for yourself is to embrace the stillness, is to do the things that helps to regulate your nervous system, okay, that helps to soothe the mind, that helps to ground the physical, your body, right? So even though a lot feels like it's shifting around you and nothing feels quite sturdy or stable, you feel stable within yourself. You feel at home within yourself, okay? Amazing. But guys, this is really cool. All right, we're going to get into some tarot before we wrap up the reading, okay? But like I say, you know, this is happening exactly as it needs to, when it needs to. And it is happening for your highest good, for your benefit, okay? And for the benefit of all. Even though not everyone sees it that way, not everyone understands it, okay? I understand it is very confusing, the energy that's coming through right now. But that's why being still, being observant, just being present, and being in tune with yourself above all is really key. Because there are things awakening within you. Like it said, right? You may feel like you're not awakening, that you're lost. But there are things that are actually being awakened within you on a cellular level. And you are shifting. You are shifting in vibration. You are becoming a viable match for the frequencies, okay, that are being sent, transmitted, okay? And so your connection with source is only going to strengthen. A whisper in your ear, I like that. I'm meditating a lot and it's working really well. Exactly, meditation is definitely the way to go. or if you struggle with that, even if you can do physical activities that help to ground you back into the body, right, and take you out of the mental, especially if your mental seems to be like going on negative spirals or tangents, right, it'll really help. Or even like taking, like doing like little actions that helps to regulate your nervous system, right? I never thought about it like that. Yeah. The garden. Yeah. Nature's always helpful. Nature's always helpful on that level. All right. So let's see. So let's get some tarot on this. So anything else that the collective needs to know when it comes to this shift? And essentially jumping through another portal here. Having another timeline jump. Yeah, we have the Eight of Pentacles. So your due diligence, right? All of the work that you've already done. And that's the thing, guys, right? I think sometimes we can get addicted to the idea of needing to do more, needing to be more, okay? You can actually get addicted to the inner work because you see how much fulfillment, how much harmony and balance and peace, and how just all the ways in which it benefits you, right? And so it can become addictive to want to do more, be more, strive for more, right? Feeling like we have to work on ourselves on a deeper level. But ultimately, at this point, it's not even about that. You've already done, like I've been saying for a while now, you've already done a lot of the heavy lifting as it is, right? Now it's just about being present, okay? And that could be the hard thing, right? It's easy to use inner work as a distraction, to feel like we need to do something, right? But I don't feel like it's about doing more. You've already been doing the heavy lifting, a lot of it. Now it's about being able to sit with it. Sit with all that you've done, all that you've accomplished, all that you've become. And that's just by, you know, like I say, for the most part, just unlearning and stripping and transmuting everything that isn't truly yourself or isn't reflective of self on that core level, you know? And that could be the uncomfortable bit. That could be where the discomfort is coming in, because there isn't that distraction with needing to do something, right? But to be still within it. And that can be uncomfortable. That can be confronting, you know, especially if you're not used to it. Like, especially if people aren't used to meditating, for example, you know, whereas if that's something you do regularly or it's something that you've been able to do, then you might find that a little bit easier, you know. Especially when we live currently in such a way, in such a world that is all distraction for the most part. For a good portion of the day, we experience distraction and noise and distortion. So being a sort of pure tone channel where we sort of fade all of that out and come back to the center, come back home to the self, right? To ourselves on a core level, and be that pure channel. Yeah, that is really, really important right now, okay? So even if you're only able to do that, like sit in silence or sit in stillness or even listen to meditation music, right? And just be very much present, even if you can only do that for like 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, it's far better than not doing it at all, you know? It's not even about the length of time, it's just the dedication to that, okay? So you can train yourself to acclimatize with being here already. That be energy that we saw with that card, right? Right? Instead of waiting to arrive, but recognize you've already arrived. You're here, right? That version of self, like I've been saying, that you've been striving to become, you are that now. So it's about just embodying that now, just being. I've never seen so many ladybirds or butterflies this year. I know, right? I've seen so many butterflies. I swear I had the same butterfly come twice, and I had to like bring them out into the garden because it kept flapping against the window, you know. I was panicking because it was stuck, so I managed to bring it out. But then the next day it came again and did the same thing. So, and it looked exactly the same, like the exact same butterfly. So, but yeah, we've been getting loads as well. You know, it's been really nice to see them, you know, all over the place. Yes, all the growth becomes very addictive. It does, you know, because like I say, you see the benefits of it on all levels. But now is not the time for striving to be more, to do more, but just to be, literally be. And that's the adjustment we need to make, right? Is coming back to that stillness. I will start this week meditation and yoga. Nice. Yeah, I was supposed to go back to the gym, but yeah. But meditation has definitely been my friend. All right. Let's see, what else does the collective need to know when it comes to this transition? Ugh, too many cards. What do the collective need to know when it comes to this transition? All right, so we have the 8 of Wands. Nice. So you see that? You see that movement? You see how it looks like she's moving faster than the speed of light? This is what I mean, right? Things are moving. Things are shifting. You are shifting, okay? So again, 8-8 could be significant here, okay? So again, that karmic release, a significant change of circumstance, fortune, okay? Expect the unexpected. Release any sort of limitation that you have. Any limiting belief, let it go. Don't fixate on it. Even when it comes up, that's fine. But don't feed it. Don't reinforce it, okay? Because I'm telling you, there are things that are very much possible that you wouldn't even believe was a possibility, right? Like things that can happen, things that can take shape in your life, things that you can do that you can't even conceive of right now, but it will happen. So the more open-minded you are as to the possibilities, right? Not forcing the fact that this is what's going to happen, right? No, but just being open to the possibilities, you'll be surprised, you know? And I'm getting this quickening energy here. So things are definitely speeding up. We know that. Time is not a constant, okay? Things are quickening, but that doesn't mean that you have to race, that you have to rush around, that you have to be operating from scarcity or lack or fear or, you know, sort of, what's what I'm looking for? Can't think of it now, but basically, don't feel like you have to rush. It's not about that, okay? It's just that you can get to where you want to be. Again, it's that timeline jumping, right? You can get to where you want to be far quicker than you believe, but that comes from embodiment. That actually comes from the stillness. That's the wild thing. It's the other way around. It's not about you doing more or rushing or anything like that. The way you get there, the way you jump to where you want to be in much quicker succession, instead of having to jump from timeline to timeline to timeline, is by just being still and truly embodying what you are. Truly embodying these frequencies that are already operating within you, and that which is already awakening within you, that which is coming online. It's just literally embracing and embodying what is already present. That is it. And that's the hard thing, though, because everyone is trying to rush. Yeah, look at this, right? The King of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Everyone's in a hurry to get somewhere, to be someone, to do more, to make things happen, right? And it makes sense because, again, you think about the way the old narratives are coming undone, the old way of life is falling apart, right? What used to work no longer works. Old systems that we're so used to seeing be present are now falling away. Like so much is dissolving right now. So it is triggering like a fight or flight kind of energy within a lot of people, right? And they feel the need to quickly make something happen before it's too late, before they lose their window of time, right? Everything is time sensitive, apparently, but that's not the case at all. Everything's unfolding exactly as it needs to, in the timing that it needs to. So that's the trap here, right? That a lot of people are falling into right now, right? Everything is built around the fear of missing out, okay? Like even the way a lot of readings, for example, are presented online nowadays. It's all about, you got to do it in this time. You got to make it happen now. You got to watch this now. It has to be now. Everything, or, you know, in this time period or this amount of days, or, you know, there's always some kind of hurry here. But you don't need to do any of that. You just need to embody the very energy that you're invoking, right? The very concept. You have to be the vessel of that. That's the best way I can describe it, right? So if you want something, you want to experience something, or you want to align your energy with something, be synonymous with something, then you have to literally embody that, right? Be the vessel of that very thing. Be its reflection. But not coming from a place of doing it on a surface level, but truly aligning yourself with that thing, right? And it will happen. It will happen in ways that could be very unexpected. Yeah, look at this, right? Five of Pentacles, that which is being left behind, right? People, places, things, circumstances, objects, environments, homes, right? Whatever, workplaces, that which is being left behind, that which has already been removed from your physical experience. High Priestess energy, okay? That inner knowing, leaning into your intuition, trusting what is unfolding, and that it is happening for your highest good, right? Seeing the signs, being able to read them accordingly. You see how our third eye is lit up? Is being able to see and being able to trust, right? Seeing and trusting, seeing and believing. Justice. Knowing everything's working out accordingly. Everything's balancing out for your highest good, right? Everything's unfolding as it needs to. And again, it's giving that unveiling, right? The cracking open, right? The ever unfolding rose. It's happening for you, not to you. Yeah? And this is it. This is that sort of split in consciousness that's happening right now. And you can go into a space where it becomes expanded, or you can contract it, right? But that's of your own volition. That's the thing. That's not anything that anyone else is doing. That is what you choose to feed, right? That which is expansive, or that which is constrictive, or constricting, should I say. And you have the Wheel of Fortune. What I say, karmically, everything's playing out as it needs to, right? So yes, some people are very much feeding the karmic patterns and the loops, and that's where they find themselves, and it will continue. But as you know, the more stubborn you become, or the more you feed into those old paradigms and narratives and patterns of behavior, right? Thought processes, dynamics, interactions, the more that's going to be intensified in how it's reflected at you. So it's not going to be pleasant. But those who have been leaning into that violet flame energy that we saw, that purging, that releasing, the letting go, right? Even if you have to let go of tangible things to make that happen. Completely different story. Completely different experiences, right? It's like it sets a completely new tone for your life experience, right? The kinds of interactions you can have, the kinds of experiences, the types of memories you can create, the types of feelings and thoughts that may even be invoked, right? Completely different mindsets as well, different approaches, different pathways being presented to you. Like, there is a significant change of fortune here. I cannot stress that enough. I honestly feel like, especially coming into Leo season into Virgo season, man, it's going to be very significant. Very, very significant. Okay. Yeah. 10 of Wands, you see? This is it, right? Recognizing it for what it is. No longer playing the game. No longer playing by their rules, right? You flip the board, okay? It's game over. It's done. So honestly, for you guys, there is no turning back. There's only moving forward, right? Because that old paradigm is done. You know, we are just seeing the crumbling of it. And you're not going to fall behind with it. Absolutely not. So again, look at this. I can't make this up. I didn't even know it was there. Tower. The crumbling of the old paradigm, right? But this is the key. This is what's liberating you. Right? This is the inflection point. This is what you've waited for, essentially. This is what, as a collective, we have waited for. This is what we've been hoping for. This is what we've been striving for. And it's here, okay? It's literally here as we speak. Yeah? Like I say, you've already planted your seeds. You've already been tending to them, nurturing yourself, nurturing the things that you truly value, okay? You've already released that which you don't, or that which doesn't serve your highest good and the highest good of all, right? So what remains to be true. That which is left is rooted in distortion. Or again, that's connected to these karmic timelines, patterns, right? Experiences that you have transcended. So it's not about doing more. It's just about remaining present, right? Remaining present. You've got everything you need already. They are blossoming. They are blooming, okay? So all you need to do is keep doing what you've already been doing. Just be present. You don't have to do more. You don't have to be more. You're already that which you've been seeking, that you always hoped you would be. It's about recognition now, recognizing it within yourself and embodying that. You know? Interesting. So, guys, yeah, exactly. Just be, okay? And again, it sounds simple, and usually the most effective, the most powerful wisdom you'll ever receive in your life is always the simplest, right? I think any teacher can attest to that. But putting it into practice is another thing, right? Especially, like I say, when we've been so used to living in a way of life, you know, society, the way society is geared is all about doing more, being more, striving for more, right? Productivity culture, hustle culture, right? It's all about the grind. I mean, especially, you know, like our generations, you know, I would say obviously with the younger generations, they're seeing it for what it is, that it's BS, okay? Because they already saw this paradigm crumbling, right? They already came into the world whilst all of that was being unveiled, being exposed, right? But with us, we literally saw, you know, what was being upheld by the illusion, that which has been exposed, and now how it's falling away, you know? So it's a very different experience, right? When you've seen the lie be perpetuated. I mean, especially, you know, for my generation, okay, for the, you know, for the millennials out there, you know, we literally came into this world with the intention of witnessing the illusion be revealed, right? So from jump, you know, that's what we were faced back to back to back, was on every level, almost like it feels like a betrayal on every level, right? Because it's like we were fed the lie, and immediately after we saw that it was an illusion on every level, you know? So we were meant to witness that in real time, you know? And I don't feel like it was unintentional by any means, because again, you know, that is the generational bridge between what was and what will be, you know? Whereas the younger generations, they've come in witnessing that this was an illusion and that this is shattering. So the disillusionment wasn't, you know, it was already there, you know? So it's a case of, well, we know that's BS and that doesn't work. So what do we do with this, you know? Because ultimately they're going to be the ones that start setting the new precedent, right? That start implementing different things, right? To different levels, right? They are going to be the ones that quickly adapt to these new technologies. So it's up to us to be the anchor, right? To be the safe space, to hold the fort, right? Hold the front lines while they do that, you know? So it's very interesting. And we know there's a lot of evolved souls that are being birthed as we speak, right? I mean, if you look at how babies are, right? A lot of these babies that are being born now, you can tell they've been here many times over, right? We've got so many ancestors that are reincarnating at this time. It's not even funny. They're like, oh, thank God, at least we can do what we need to do this time, you know? So we got a lot of our ancestors that are coming through now, you know? that are ready to do their part, you know. And yeah, of course, there's some new souls. There always are, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of ancestors that are coming back and rolling their sleeves up. So yeah, very interesting. That is some point. Thank you so much. I hope you feel better and have minimal pain from the fracture. Yeah, I'll be okay. Don't worry. I will be absolutely fine. But yeah, look at this. I just split the deck and I've got the Chariot and the Six of Cups. I'm telling you, we've got ancestors that are coming back as we speak, right? So for some of you guys, you know, you've got passed over loved ones that are coming back as we speak. I know there's a lot of debate over the time frame of the reincarnation cycle, but I honestly feel like it really depends. I don't think it's a standard amount of time across the board. I think it depends a lot on the individual circumstances, right? But I'm telling you, for some of you guys, you've literally got ancestors coming back now to facilitate the change, to help implement these changes, right? That's why we got the Six of Cups there, right? I'm telling you. Coming through this portal. Yep. And we have the Chariot, ready to help shift humanity forward, right? Find a new path, a new trajectory, a new way of doing things, right? Leading the charge. And this is what I mean, you know? We're helping to lay the foundation so they can do that. You know, we are the bridge, essentially, you know? We are the bridge. So, and like I say, it's not easy. It's not been easy, but it's highly worth it because it's going to allow humanity to truly heal on a collective level, right? And like I say, to carve out a new way, a way that we've not seen yet, but that will be highly transformative, that will benefit the all, not just a select few, okay? That's gonna essentially enable people to operate at their highest potential, right? As their truth selves. And be in constant communion, conversation with Source. Like, this is beautiful, honestly. Obviously, how people want to go about that, it can vary from person to person, right? But there's that link, right? There's that line of communication. And, you know, just knowing that, yeah, you can live a way that makes you feel free and that feels more reflective of who you are, as opposed to having to try and mold yourself and fit yourself into a box, an environment, you know, into a way of life that was never going to serve you, that was never going to work for you, you know? Yeah, there was a video about a boy who reincarnated to solve his passing. I've seen that. He was only like 4 or 5 years old, right? He came back and he pointed out exactly who did it, right? And he even pointed out where his body was, right? And they dug it up, and guess what? It was them. So the guy was arrested, and he couldn't believe it. Like, and he ended up confessing, by the way. He ended up confessing to the unaliving. Unreal, right? But the way the kid was describing, and he was even talking like he used to be. And he said his old name, the shop he used to own, right? And it was where he said it was, right? And his parents couldn't believe it because they're like, he's never been to that town. He's never been. They're from like a really rural village, you know? And it's like, he's never been there. How would he know these things? How does he even know this person, you know? And it was all to a T, to the point where they introduced the little boy. This was in India, by the way. They introduced the little boy to the relatives of the man who passed away. And they were talking to him and they were shocked. They were like, it's like talking to our dad, you know, our grandfather, our uncle. Like, it's unreal, you know, because of course, some people wanted to say, oh, it's a hoax or whatever. But, you know, they were saying that he knew things that they don't have an explanation of how he would know that, you know. And like I say, and the fact that he was able to say, oh, yeah, this is what happened to me, you know, unbelievable. But yeah, it does happen, guys. There's been other cases where kids have like talked about their former lives and how they used to be, you know. It's quite interesting. Yeah. especially when they're shocked at how different their life is this time around. Like they were living a completely different life, a different person entirely. So yeah, it's interesting. But yes, the moon. There's so much. Exactly. There's so much that, goes under the radar, and there's a lot that is kept on a subliminal level, on an unconscious level, that sometimes we do carry through, like, yes, of course, that information always gets filtered back or always gets, transmitted back to source. But yeah, there's a lot of kids that actually come through retaining some of that past life memory, Exactly, justice with the Page of Cups. There are even some kids that are reincarnating for that reason, okay? For the reason of karmic clearing. I mean, that's why a lot of us are here, right? It's not just about facilitating the change, but it's about, again, like we saw with the Violet Flame, clearing up our own past life karma, right? Getting off that will. Finally resolving those things that we didn't feel we're able to in past lives, okay? So those experiences don't repeat because they don't have to. But in order to ensure that doesn't, we had to break the chains, right? Again, liberate ourselves. And that's what a lot of us have done, So those old narratives, those old karmic patterns, those repeating circumstances and experiences, storylines, they're done. They're absolutely done, okay? Some of you guys are walking around not even realizing that you have freed yourself. That the very thing you hoped would happen, you've done it. And that's by making the changes that you did. By recognizing what you recognized and doing things differently. So, amazing. But guys, exactly. Taking control, taking accountability, taking responsibility over your life, right? And recognizing what needed to happen. So I love it. But guys, that is essentially it. So I hope this message serves you well. Like I say, I know this one was kind of difficult to explain in places. I know it will make sense to those who are meant to receive it, okay? Because like I say, I feel like I'm struggling to find the terminology for what is actually coming. Because I don't feel like a lot of these terms exist yet, to be honest with you, okay? But at least it gives you a gist as to what I'm discussing, what I mean, okay? But there are things that we are going to navigate, or there's going to be approaches, systems, tools, technologies, okay, that we haven't utilized before, and like I say, it's rooted in light, right? So yeah, it's a completely different form of technology as well, right? So, but again, it will make sense. It will make sense. But yes, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope this does serve you well. Of course, it is always a pleasure to read for you, despite my situation. But yes, I am planning to go live again this week. To be honest with you, I won't know what days until I get to the day, because I'm having to just take it day by day at the moment. Especially with like all my other symptoms as well. So yeah, we're just literally taking it day by day. But if I'm able to go live tomorrow on TikTok, I will, okay? But either way, I'll let you know in the Discord what the plan is, okay? Like if I am planning to go live, I'll put it there. All right. But yeah, otherwise, thank you so much. I hope this does serve you well. Hopefully this does help clear things up a little bit, especially if you feel lost, confused, in that liminal space, not sure what you're supposed to be doing, if what you're doing is correct. Like, believe me, you are doing plenty. You do not need to be doing more. What you need to do is be still, okay? And just be in the moment, okay? Because like I say, this is very, very temporary. And you're already where you need to be for the most part. It's just everything outside of self is catching up to reflect that, okay? So, guys, take care of yourselves. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. No, it's okay. It's all good, And like I say, if I really wasn't able to do it, then I wouldn't. It's just, yes, it was an important message. And ideally, I would like to do the live tomorrow because obviously it's the new moon in Cancer. So I definitely want to get into that. So hopefully I will be doing that tomorrow, okay? because tomorrow's lunation is very, very significant, especially with us being Cancer season, Mercury retrograding in Cancer at the moment. There's a lot going on. So yeah, it'd be good to get into that. But for the time being, take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourself. Okay. Know you're doing amazing, and amazing things are taking shape in your life, right? Even some of the challenges right now that you may be facing, again, very temporary. Okay. I do feel like it's just paving the way for what is to come, and essentially helping to remove what isn't going to be part of that. Okay. But guys, take care, and hopefully I will chat to you tomorrow. Yes, definitely getting some drinks and some snacks now. Okay. But yeah, guys, I'll speak to you later. Bye.